Hey guys, it's Eric, owner of Farpoint Farms, and tonight I was going to do a pretty neat little video, I think anyway. I'm going to talk about how to get into the CB radio hobby cheap, like really cheap. Of course, there's always eBay. You know, you can get a good deal on a radio on eBay, probably half price, sometimes a quarter of the price of what an item would cost new. But there's other ways to do it. Certainly stopping at like Goodwills or thrift stores or even going to like yard sales and stuff will sometimes yield some pretty surprising results. Now I've got a little collection here that I've gotten over the last like 2 months, I'd say, of some pretty nice radios. I got a nice microphone and 3 radios that I picked up, and when I show you what I've got here and how much I've spent on it, I think you might be surprised. So if you want to get into this hobby cheap, there's certain things you're going to have to spend money on. There's certain things you can kind of skimp out on. And a radio, surprisingly, is one of the things you can kind of skimp out on. You can get a nice, cheap, used radio if you keep your eyes open for pennies on the dollar. Cabling is going to cost you usually a lot more than the radio. An antenna is probably going to cost you a lot more than your radio if you're keeping an eye out, because you hardly ever see an antenna for sale used. Maybe on Craigslist, but pretty rare. But you do often come across really cool finds either on eBay, at thrift stores, at flea markets, on Craigslist, places like that. You just got to keep your eyes open. So let's take a look. All right, seriously, this is my haul. This is like a month and a half, maybe 2 months worth of goodies here. And let's go from left to right. Right here we have a Browning Bearing. And this was $10. I don't know if that shows up on there. I'll get a close-up of it, but $10. Came with 2 microphones, one of them shown here. Now this is kind of nice radio because this actually has sideband. This is a 40-channel radio with sideband that I picked up at a flea market for $10. I mean, pretty awesome. And it does work. The LED for the channel readout, it kind of flickers sometimes. So I'll probably take this apart, clean it up some, and get that fixed if I can. You can always replace those LEDs, but hopefully I can just fix whatever's going on there. But $10 for a sideband. This would make and will make an awesome base station radio. 40 channels, upper, lower, sideband. You know, got all the little doodads. Dim and bright, PA if you wanted it. You got even an SWR calibration with the meter that's built in. A noise blanker, the works. This has got everything that you would look for either in a base station or a high-end mobile setup. It's just old. It's just an older radio. Some guy was tired of the hobby, got out of it. It looked like from the dust that was on it when I picked it up, it'd probably been sitting for years. So, wow, that's like one of the gold stars of the year right there. Next we have a nice portable 40-channel CB walkie-talkie. That's a Radio Shack model. That's one of the later ones. This was in the box. Look at this thing. It's still in the box. Looks like it was never used. Got the manual for it. TRC 239. Got the radio and the antenna still in the bag. And yes, this works too. Of course, you have to put like 10,000 batteries in it, so I don't have it plugged in right now. But I plugged it into a 12-volt power supply just to make sure it worked, and it works great. Nice channel up and down feature. This is a basic mobile radio, but high-low power, volume, squelch. You get your channel indicator, transmit. It even has a built-in charging mechanism, so if you want to get rechargeable batteries there, and it has a switch for regular batteries or rechargeables, you could charge it right there. And it's pretty compact. That's a nice little radio there. That was $5 with the box. Now, I don't really need that, but if I see a deal that good, by God, I'm buying it. And I'll just go ahead and resell that to somebody who wants to get into the hobby or wants to have a mobile radio. So that's pretty cool, right? Next in line, let's take a look. I'll move the camera down a little bit. Let's see here. Yeah, okay. Another Radio Shack radio. This one's pretty cool. It's TRC 481. This was also $5. Came with the power cord, the mic. This is kind of a midline Radio Shack setup here. It's got volume, squelch, it's got a channel 9 on, off, CB and PA. And you've got your channel selector here. But what's nice about this one is it's also got the channel up down right on the mic, which is really nice. It was dirty, but guess what, guys? It works. $5. This would make a great mobile installation. Put this in your car, AM only, but hey, for $5, that's a great radio you can put in there. And it works great. So that one I'm probably going to hang on to. Maybe even put that in my wife's car. That looks like it would fit in a DIN slot too, so that's really neat.
And then this was like, you know, some of you guys that are really into CB radios or ham radios, you're going to recognize this. This is kind of iconic. You see this in movies. It's been around since the 30s. And then I might not pronounce this right, but Aesthetic, or Aesthetic, whatever it's pronounced. This is the D104 Lollipop. This is like, when I was a kid growing up, you know, as far as base station operation, this was like the holy grail here. These things still being made and sold, I believe, and they're like over $100 brand new. I paid $15 for that right there. And it was already pre-wired for a 4-pin mic, which, you know, is Cobra, Uniden, a lot of other manufacturers use that 4-pin mic. And it's in great shape. You know, yeah, it's got some wear on it, it's got some years on it, but it works lovely, sounds great. You know, both the mechanisms work. The chrome is still good. This is an earlier model. This isn't the Silver Eagle. This is just a plain old D104 Lollipop. So if I wanted to resell that, and I'm not going to, but if I wanted to, that's probably you know, $80 worth of microphone right there. I'm going to keep it. I've been wanting one of these things, like I said, since the early to mid 80s. You know, this was just like, you'd go to people's houses who had base stations, and this was the mic you would find. So it's going to make a nice addition to my little base station setup here for $15. Wow, that's really cool. So yeah, this is an indication of what you can pick up if you keep your eyes open. All these were found. This was at a flea market. That was at a flea market. That was at a flea market. The walkie-talkie was at Goodwill, which is a pretty good find there too. So let's see, 10, 15, 20, $35 in front of you. I'd say that's probably, if I wanted to resell all this stuff, that'd be 80. That'd probably be 15. That'd probably be 80-ish, maybe 75. That would probably be $20 for the mic, or I mean the mobile one. So, guys, the point of this video is that if you're wondering about getting into the hobby, your first stop should not be Amazon or Walmart or wherever, or even a truck stop, you know, CB radio shop. And let me tell you why that is. It is that way because a lot of guys have gotten out of this hobby. You know, a lot of these radios have been around since the 80s. The heydays were the 70s and into the 80s. Then there was a resurgence in the late 90s. So a lot of gear that you're going to find is either going to come from the 80s era or it's going to come from the early to late 90s. Probably no more than probably 99 or so as far as late equipment. Most manufacturers stopped making good high quality CB equipment in the late 90s, early 2000s. This Uniden Grand is a great example of one of the last great radios that Uniden produced before giving up the hobby, so to speak. I don't know what else I can say on the subject other than this. If you keep your eyes open and you're willing to wait a little while, you can pick up some really cool stuff. There's no need to go running down to Walmart and buy that $40 Midland that's, you know, what is it, the 1000Z is very popular, or the Cobra 19, which is also, no, both those are great radios, but you're looking at $35 to $45 for each of those radios. When I can pick up a 40-channel sideband radio for $10, certainly that makes more sense. Even if it needs a little bit of work, even if it needs $5 worth of work and it costs me $15, that's, you know, less than half the price of a base new radio, and that radio is going to be way superior. So, especially if you're willing to tinker a little bit, you can grade some great deals. That's it. That's the whole purpose of tonight's video, just to talk about that and to say I really want more people to get into this hobby. I enjoy this hobby. I enjoy talking to people on the radio, and I enjoy getting people interested in what I'm interested in, which is what I'm doing these videos for. So a way to find that is by going to thrift stores, by looking at Craigslist ads. Sometimes you'll find people just selling stuff out of the garage, you know, and yard sales. So I'm Eric, owner of Farpoint Farms. Hope you enjoyed the video. Tried to keep it short tonight, but I just kind of wanted to show off some of the cool stuff. Take care.